Finding Light After Darkness, a story of healing from campus violence, trauma Part 1. When the world shatters, understanding trauma responses. Maya stared at her laptop screen, the cursor blinking in the empty document where her psychology essay should have been. 3 weeks had passed since that Tuesday morning when her world shattered, when alarms turned out to be something far worse, when running became survival, when her safe space became a memory. Her roommate Jessica knocked softly. "Hey, you missed dinner again." Maya's hands trembled slightly as she closed the laptop. She hadn't been able to focus on anything since returning to campus. Sleep came in fragments, interrupted by sudden sounds that sent her heart racing. Even the familiar hum of the heating system made her jump. The simple act of walking across campus felt like navigating a minefield. Every corner could hide danger. Every unexpected sound could be a threat. "I'm not really hungry," Maya replied, though her stomach disagreed. Food had lost its appeal, just like everything else that once brought her joy. Jessica sat on the edge of the bed, her face etched with concern. They'd been friends since freshman orientation, bonding over late-night study sessions and shared dreams of teaching. But now Maya felt like she was watching life through thick glass, present but disconnected, hearing conversations as if they were happening underwater. "My mom called today. She's worried about you too." "About all of us, really," Jessica said gently. "She keeps asking if there's anything she can do." The ripple effects of that morning extended far beyond campus. Back home, Maya's parents were struggling in their own way. Her father, typically reserved and logical, had taken to calling twice daily, his voice carefully controlled but betraying his fear. During their conversations, she could hear him pacing, the familiar creak of the floorboards in their kitchen marking his anxious steps. Her mother had started attending a support group for families affected by violence, something Maya learned during one of their stilted phone conversations. "We don't know how to help you," her mother had admitted, tears evident in her voice. "We weren't there. We can't understand what you saw, what you felt. We feel so helpless." Maya had been considering dropping out entirely. The thought of leaving campus, of never having to walk those halls again or see the places where everything changed, felt like the only escape from the constant reminders. Every corner held echoes of that morning. Every familiar building felt contaminated by fear. But the idea of disappointing her parents, of abandoning the dreams she'd worked so hard for, created another layer of internal conflict. Social media had become another minefield. Her feeds were filled with memorial posts, news updates, and well-meaning friends sharing articles about campus safety. Even months later, the algorithm seemed determined to remind her, surfacing old photos from happier campus moments that now felt like they belonged to a different person entirely. She'd deleted most apps from her phone, but the isolation that followed felt almost as suffocating as the constant digital reminders had been. Underneath the fear and sadness was a growing anger that surprised her with its intensity. She felt betrayed by the administrators who had promised safety, by the security measure that had failed so completely. The emergency drills they'd practiced seemed laughably inadequate in hindsight. Maya found herself furious at the adults who were supposed to protect them. Professors who had locked doors but provided no real plan. Campus police who had taken too long to arrive. Administrators who now sent platitudes in carefully worded emails. This anger felt dangerous and unwelcome, but it burned in her chest alongside the fear. That was perhaps the hardest part, the isolation that came with the experience. Even among her friends who were there that day, everyone was processing differently. Some threw themselves into activism, organizing vigils and policy discussions with fierce determination. They found purpose in their pain, channeling their trauma into calls for change. Others seemed to retreat inward, skipping classes, avoiding social gatherings, barely leaving their rooms. Maya's friend Marcus appeared to bounce back quickly, returning to classes and social activities, as if determined to prove nothing had changed. "We can't let them win," he'd say whenever the topic came up. "We have to keep living our lives." Maya envied Marcus's apparent resilience, until she began noticing the small signs that told a different story. She watched him organize his backpack obsessively each morning, checking and rechecking the contents. He mapped multiple exit routes to every building, arriving early to classes to secure seats near doors. In crowds, his eyes darted constantly, scanning faces, searching for threats that might not exist. His healing looked different from hers, but they were both drowning in their own ways. The physical symptoms were relentless. Maya's body remained in a constant state of high alert, muscles tense, ready to flee at any moment. Her heart raced at unexpected sounds, a door slamming, someone dropping books, even laughter that seemed too loud. Sleep, when it came, was filled with fragments of that morning, the confusion, the screaming, the terrible realization that this was real. Academic work felt impossible. Her mind, once sharp and focused, now scattered at the first sign of stress. Professors' voices faded into background noise as her brain prioritized scanning for danger over absorbing information about literature or historical contexts. The future she'd planned, a career in teaching, felt like it belonged to someone else entirely. The turning point came during a campus wellness workshop that Jessica had practically dragged her to attend. Maya had resisted, claiming she was fine, that she just needed more time. But sitting in the circle of familiar faces, students she recognized from classes, from dining halls, from that terrible morning, she realized she wasn't alone in her struggles. Dr. Rodriguez, a trauma specialist brought in by the university, spoke about the brain's response to extreme stress with a compassion that cut through Maya's defensive walls. "Your reactions aren't weaknesses," she explained to the group of students. "Hypervigilance, difficulty concentrating, emotional numbing, sleep disturbances, feeling disconnected from your body. These are normal responses to abnormal events. Your brain is trying to protect you even when the danger has passed." For the first time in weeks, Maya felt truly understood. Her symptoms weren't signs of weakness or failure, they were her mind's way of trying to keep her safe. This was just the beginning of understanding that healing was possible. To continue this journey in healing, please watch Part 2 in this video series.